Let's talk about transportation and commuting. All right. So, uh, with you guys, a lot of your commuting, you're going to be on um, probably buses that Cartier or Verto provides for you, from what I'm kind of gathering. So it's probably not too often that you're going to be um, just kind of off on your own and having to figure things out as far as transportation on your own. But in the case that you do, a couple items, a couple tips to give you as a heads up. And I think this is more in the San Jose area. Again, living in the San Jose area, maybe I've been here too long, but it's I'm noticing it's a slightly different world than the cities and towns that are outside of San Jose. But it's possible in Turrialba, because maybe I was only there for a couple hours and didn't see it. But sometimes you will just come across just a hole in the sidewalk. Sometimes there are just holes in the street that even cars and drivers have to be careful of. And again, that might be more of a San Jose, GAM, Great American Gran Area Metropolitano thing for us here. But the reason that happens usually is because, well, there could be road work, and they haven't completed the road work, so you have to be careful or work in the sidewalk. But most often than not, like storm drains, the grates on those, and the sewer tops, a lot of times they can be taken or stolen, and it's usually because there is a homeless person or a person who is who is of low economic status that needs money, and so they will take and sell anything, almost anything you can think of here. And storm drains and sewer tops are among those things that tend to be stolen and taken. So you might encounter just this like hole in the ground, and that's a lot of times the reasons that you will see that. So just always have a heads up. Please, just always heads up. Okay, pay attention all the time wherever you're walking. Again, Turrialba is just so chill and so vanilla compared to San Jose, but you still want to just always have your wits about you, always be observant. Also, when you're walking, this is something that's interesting, and it's kind of a cultural thing. Ticos, when they're walking down the street, especially if they are walking with someone, they will walk shoulder to shoulder with someone down a narrow sidewalk, even, and not move if they see you coming. They just, a lot of times they don't move. They might slightly turn their shoulder, or kind of, if someone's standing next to them, the person might kind of walk slightly in front of, step slightly in front of the person, or slightly behind the person if they see you coming. But usually they don't completely step to the side. They expect you to step out into the street or walk onto the grassy area to pass. I don't know what that is. I don't understand it. I've never understood it. I am kind of, I don't know, maybe impolite American still, and I just don't move. I need them to recognize that I need to walk on the sidewalk too. But if that happens, don't be surprised. It's just normal for them. Also, as far as cars go, cars here tend to not signal. So when you are crossing the street, please be careful and mindful of the fact that many drivers do not use their turn signal. So just when you think you can cross the street because that car is not turning, because their blinker is not blinking, wrong. Possibly wrong. But you don't want to take the chance. Just wait until you know that there are no cars that will possibly turn, and then cross the street. Also, when it comes to buses, the bus, if you are ever have to take a bus, either like a local bus from Gautier to downtown, there is a bus stop directly in front of, I mean, there's no markings that there's a bus stop, but you stand at, right by the front guard's little house, right in front of the Cartier or Katie property. The bus will stop for you. Okay, that's considered. They know that that's a bus stop where people might be either picked up or dropped off. If going picked up going to downtown, or dropped off coming back from downtown. Now, here's what you need to do when you see a bus coming. You gotta either put your hand out, and so they'll see it, or put your hand out. Some people put their hand out and wave, do like that, or something to get the bus driver's attention. Otherwise, they think that you're just hanging out, enjoying the day in the fresh air. You need to signal them that you want them to stop. Otherwise, they're going to go right past you. It's pretty cheap. It cost me, and I might have been on the slightly more expensive bus. It was 325 colones, which is, I don't know what the conversion is. It's like maybe 50 cents or something, maybe even less. So it's pretty cheap to take the bus from Cartier to downtown and back. Another tip, please try not to give any of the local bus drivers a bigger bill than 5,000 colones. I think you guys should, in your little change pouch that you have now that says Costa Rica on it. If you haven't seen yet, there's a little 5,000 colones bill there, which is like $9 or $10. It's not much, but local bus drivers, they usually don't carry a lot of cash on them, and to make change, it would kind of be a pain for them to give someone change for a bigger bill, like a 10,000 or 20,000 colones bill. A lot of times they're not prepared for that. So try to keep it 5,000 colones and below. If you can just give them a bill that's 1,000 colones, even better. If you have exact change, that's the best. It helps them out a lot. Now, when you're on a bus and you need to get off of the bus, pay attention to where your stop is, because it will be helpful when there's usually like a line, like a wire or a string that you pull, and it'll go meep, and that will signal to the driver that's where you want to get off. They need you to do that probably 30 seconds at least, if not 45 or 60 seconds before your actual stop. Otherwise, they're going to blow right past it, and you're going to have missed your stop. Also, it's recommended to keep the windows open. Especially with COVID, everyone has to wear a mask on the bus. Please keep the windows open so that, germs and particles and whatever can flow through and hopefully out the window. That's been the general recommendation here from the government and Costa Rica with riding the bus, and probably even on, if there's a bus that you're on that Cartier has reserved. Being that we're in COVID, best idea, keep the bus windows open as much as possible. If it's raining, you can't help it, but when you can, try to do that. Now, whenever you stand up from a bus, I don't care what bus you're on, I don't care what mode of transportation you're on, but look back in the seat to make sure nothing fell out of your pockets. Because a lot of times, once it's fallen, whether it's money or an ID or, your whole wallet, your phone, once it's gone, it might just be gone for good. So, it's always, I see ticos do this all the time. I do this all the time. I'm in the habit of it. You stand up, you don't leave before you look back and make sure that things that were in your pocket stayed in your pocket. Also, keep your hands inside the windows. I forget this a lot of times, but especially if you're kind of like in a car or that's kind of a lower profile vehicle, if you put your hands outside of the window, it's possible that you're going to get your hand, like knocked into by someone on a motorcycle or on a bike that is zipping in between the cars that are on the road. Motorcycles and bikes, they are in the mindset, hey, I'm on a motorcycle, I'm on a bike. I have this thing, one because it's cheaper, also because it's faster and I don't have to sit and wait behind cars like cars do. So they zip and weave in between cars, and if your arm is hanging out, whoosh, there goes your hand. I mean, it's not going to get. It might hurt a little bit. Hopefully, it won't be seriously injured. Just again, save yourself the pain and the trip to the hospital, and just keep your hands inside of moving vehicles as much as possible at all times, basically. Also, when it comes to motorcycles, please don't ride motorcycles here. If someone says, get on my motorcycle, I would suggest just don't do it, okay? There are a lot of people who are hurt, injured, even killed on motorcycle accidents, from motorcycle accidents. So my very, very strong suggestion is to not get on a motorcycle. Just don't ride motorcycles here. There are people who have, there are so many. I read an article not too many years ago that there are so many like motorcycle accidents here that they're worried about the future of Social Security because so many young people are, there are so many fatalities from young people. And they're hoping that they'll have enough young people to support the Social Security in the future. It's that serious. Also, walking around here, I see from time to time people with prosthetic legs or a prosthetic arm or missing limbs. There is no military here. So a lot of times that is a result of people not going off to war and coming back with a war injury, but it is from an injury that they have suffered commuting in the streets on a motor vehicle, on a motorcycle. Stay off of motorcycles, okay?